let's see you get out of that. And if you can, you are Houdini.
Checkmate. Tim, do you realize that you have fallen for that same trap 27 times now?
Well, that's just great. Not only do you beat me, you also keep box score. Well, I think I will go drown my human frailties in a glass of chocolate milk.
Good morning, Martin. I wonder if you'd do me a favor.
Dear lady, if there is a loose, monstrous, fire-breathing dragon you wish me to slay, I'll get right into my shining armor.
Well, maybe some other time, but right now I wonder if you could just fix my television set. Every time I turn it on, I get nothing but sleet.
I believe the term is snow.
Well, sleet or snow, it has no business on a set in California. Would you have time to fix it now?
Certainly.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Well, aren't you coming?
Coming? Where?
Downstairs to fix my TV set.
Why? Is there something wrong with it?
Oh, Martin, you're such a tease. Look at that.
Tim, stop playing those childish pranks. He's practicing a magic act for his office party.
Oh, Tim, I'll simply burst with curiosity if you don't tell me how it's done.
Oh, yeah, well, ask him. It's his trick.
I hate to take the mystery out of it, Laura Lee, but actually they're suspended from the ceiling by an invisible thread.
Doggone. You keep it away.
Now, Tim, we can trust Laura Lee to keep a secret. I'm sure she wouldn't want us expelled from the Amateur Magician Society.
Mum's the word. Coming, Martin?
You go ahead. I'll be right down.
Uncle Martin, why can't you just eat grapes out of your hand like everybody else does? How could you have pulled such a goof?
Must you use colloquialisms? I prefer to think of it as a momentary aberration of the kinetocephalic processes that resulted in an unfortunate manifestation.
Oh, like I said, a goof.
Fortunately, there's no damage done. Laura Lee fell for our little fable, hook, line, and invisible thread.
And she's liable to mention it to her Snoopy detective friend Brennan, and he's liable not to be as gullible as she is.
She's not going to mention it to him or anyone else. I'll erase the entire episode from her memory. I don't like to use my electromagnetic brain clearing machine promiscuously, but discretion is the better part of valor.
Well, that's not the brain eraser you used before.
Well, it's an all-transistor pocket-sized model that I've developed. I'm quite proud of it.
Yeah, well, don't point that thing at me. I have a few warm, star-studded memories that I would like to keep.
Your television sets are becoming much more intricate. It took me almost 2.5 minutes to fix it. Of course, I did lose 30 seconds while the tubes warmed up.
Well, did you erase the grape caper from her mind?
I'm proud of my marksmanship. Laura Lee kept moving around so much I had to ricochet the electronic beam off the wall. A perfect carom shot. You're going to think this is silly, but I left my brain-clearing device downstairs.
Oh, I wouldn't say silly is the word. How about suicidal or catastrophic or...
By the time you think of another synonym, I'll be back. Know just where I left it. I tell you? It was right where I left it, right on top of Mrs. Brown's TV set.
Uncle Martin, you're going to put gray hairs in my Bonnie Brown thatch. By the way, what happened to your toolbox? Oh, Gesundheit. Don't tell me you left your toolbox downstairs.
Did I have it with me?
Oh, no, with all those weird tools in it. It's got doohickeys that turn screws from across the room and thingamajigs that disintegrate metal and gizmos that...
Tim, you don't have to finish the inventory or remind me of the gravity of the situation. I'll be right back.
Oh, no, you're not going anywhere without me. I know you're a little too old for a babysitter, so I will just go along as chaperone.
Tim, I assure you, my mind is as clear as a bell.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Tim. Why, Martin, are you here again?
Gesundheit.
Well, Mrs. Brown, I'm sure your set will work fine now. Goodbye.
Kidding around like that all day, Mrs. Brown. Uncle Martin, I'm sure that Mrs. Brown doesn't have time to listen to you rehearse your absent-minded professor bit that you're going to do at the office party.
What office party?
Kidding around like that all day long. You see, I'm afraid he's taken his role so seriously that he forgot and left his toolbox down here.
Oh, well, as a matter of fact, he did. It's right on top of the TV. Come on in. Mr. Brennan just dropped by. I was going to ask him to bring it up to you.
Well, if it isn't the Wizard of Menlo Park and his caddy. Forgive me for peeking, but I've always wanted to see what kind of tools a genius worked with.
I'll take that if you don't mind.
Now, here's an interesting piece of equipment. Built any good cyclotrons with it lately?
You're using it the wrong way, old man. It happens to be a left-handed screwdriver.
Come on, Uncle Martin. Let's not waste time on an amateur. Uncle Martin, we have to find out what is causing this absent-mindedness, because if we don't, you are bound to give yourself away.
Tim, I'm quite as worried about it as you are. If this keeps up, I might as well take out an ad saying, I'm a Martian.
Gesundheit. Oh, if you do, don't forget my newspaper, because there's a blonde down in classified I'm trying to impress.
I can't understand it. This coffee's cold.
Uncle Martin, I think I've got something. Only I'm not quite sure what I've got. Now, look, every time you have a lapse of memory, it's come right after you sneezed.
But it can't be. It isn't due for 3 months yet.
What isn't?
Let's see. N squared to the Omicron power over beta times 365 days a year. How could I have been so careless? Last time I calculated, I forgot to take into account your Earth leap years. That explains everything.
It certainly does. Now, if you'll just let me know what we're talking about.
The reason for my absent-mindedness. Today is sneezaphobia day, the beginning of the sneezaphobia week.
Sneezaphobia day. Sneezaphobia week.
Yeah, yes. It's a period on Mars very similar to your hay fever season, except that it only occurs once every 300 years, when Alpha Centauri is in juxtaposition to Cassiopeia.
But I don't get it. What does sneezing have to do with forgetting?
Ordinarily nothing. But during the sneezophobic season, each respiratory spasm creates a drain on the memory bank, which results in a temporary lapse of recall.
Say, that sneezophobia is nothing to sneeze at. Well, let's not get panicky. Look, you climb into bed and stay there till you're out of danger. Now, we'll seal off the door, we'll disconnect the phone.
That won't be necessary. Fortunately, there's a simple remedy that Mother used to give us every time Alpha came within 1,000 light years of Cass. Let's see. She used to take some baking soda and a pinch of mustard.
Are you sure that this stuff will cure you?
Positive. As a matter of fact, Mother once thought of putting it on the market, but it didn't seem worthwhile for a disease that came only once every 300 years. Now, let's see. That seemed to be one other ingredient.
What?
I recall it was something rare. Mother used to get it at a chemist's shop. Let's see, what was it? It was, oh, yes, Oh, yes, I just thought of it. It was...
Gesundheit. Well, what was it?
What was what? Oh, Tim, that sneeze blew it right out of my head. Here's the diary of my stay on Earth and the log of my trip from Mars.
Oh, good. Well, I'll help you pack all this stuff into your spaceship. And then we can stash all of this Martian stuff until you get over whatever it is you've got. Hello? Oh, come on, Mr. Burns. It's my day off. Oh, well, since you put it that way, how can I refuse? Yes, don't worry. I'll be there when his plane arrives. Bye-bye. Someday, he's going to put it that way once too often, and then I'm going to give him 2 weeks' notice.
An assignment?
It's some political big shot passing through town just long enough to increase the smog with the cigar smoke. Well, he drops a few cliches about honesty in government. Look, you sit tight, and I'll be back as soon as I can.
Tim, now that I know what's wrong with me, I'm perfectly capable of hiding these things myself.
But suppose you sneeze, and then forget where you hid them.
I assure you that won't happen. But if it'll make you feel better, I'll take along a clothespin to clamp on my nose if I feel a sneeze coming on.
Well, you do seem to be much better now. All right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll grab a bus, and you take the car. Oh, yeah.
What's that?
This is your name and address, just in case you have a lapse and forget who you are. For some reason or another, I have grown accustomed to your face.
Where can I hide this?
Doggone it, O'Hara. What's all the pounding for? You're giving everybody in the neighborhood a headache. What are you doing in there anyway?
Oh, well, I was making a hobby horse for one of the children down the block.
A hobby horse, huh? Say, I've always wondered how you get those rockers to stay on. I'm not going to sue you.
And, Tim, there were strange noises coming from the garage. You know, it was like somebody was banging and sawing wood.
Oh, well, maybe the termites have gone in for automation. Oh, well. Say, très charmant. Big evening?
Thank you. Yes, I'm going over to Mr. Brennan's house for cocktails, and then he's taking me out for dinner.
Oh, bon appetit. That blows my French.
Oh, Tim, I wonder if you'd know. Mr. Brennan and I were having an argument about who wrote a poem that started, "Once upon a something something, as I pondered something something."
Yeah, well, I don't think that Edgar Allan Poe exactly expressed it that way, but you're close.
Edgar Allan Poe, that's exactly what I said. Oh, Tim, may I borrow it?
No.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
Oh, won't Mr. Brennan be surprised to find out I know something he didn't? As a matter of fact, I'm rather surprised myself. Bye.
Uncle Martin, where have you been?
Oh, I came back hours ago, and I went out for a walk.
Well, thank goodness I was about to call the Bureau of Missing Martians. Now, you didn't have any trouble.
None at all. Just one little sneeze that made me forget who I was and where I lived. Your identification tag came in very handy.
Now, about hiding your spaceship and all that stuff, have you got anything to report?
You're not very subtle. I see you think I don't remember where I hid them. Well, I do. I hid them most securely in...
Oh, no.
I hid them most securely in... Oh, Tim. I've forgotten where I did hide them.
You couldn't.
Now, keep calm. I anticipated something like this might happen. So I took the precaution of making a memo with my special effects on it and the precise location where I hid them.
Uh-huh. And now you can't remember where you hid the memo.
Not at all. It's in a book right on that shelf.
Uh-huh. Uncle Martin? Which book?
The Selected Poetry and Prose of Edgar Allan Poe. Where is it?
I think maybe you had better sit down. No, on second thought, I think we'd both better sit down.
How could you give a book with the location of my spaceship in it to Detective Brennan?
I didn't give it to Detective Brennan. I gave it to Mrs. Brown, and she is giving it to him.
Well, there may be a philosophic distinction, but the effect is just as grim. If he finds out I'm a Martian, I'll be a...
Cooked goose.
Your choice of words is inelegant, but depressingly graphic. Even under the impression that I'm a fellow human, he doesn't exactly worship the ground I walk on.
Well, come on, Uncle Martin. Let's not give up so easily. Look, if you could just remember where you hid your spaceship, we could move it before Brennan gets to it. How about the sneezaphobia antidote? You still can't remember the missing ingredient? Come on. Come on, Uncle Martin. You can do it.
Oh, it's beginning to come back to me. The ingredient is... Achoo!
You've forgotten.
Forgotten what? Oh, I'm afraid I have.
Uncle Martin, you've got to do something. Mrs. Brown could be down there putting a noose around your neck right now.
Did you say she was meeting him at his house for cocktails?
Yes, why?
They say two's company and three's a crowd. But I've never heard anybody mention anything about four.
Care for another canopy, Lauralee?
Now, Mr. Brennan, if you think you're going to get out of buying me dinner... oh, Mr. Brennan.
Bill?
Oh, Bill. Do you remember the poem we were talking about the other night? You know, the one that starts, once upon a something, something...
Oh, of course. Percy Bysshe Shelley.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Are you sure?
I know. It's somewhere in this book.
He's got the book. We've got to do something fast.
I've got it all figured out. I'll make myself invisible, stroll into the living room, and voila.
Now you're talking.
Oh, just one thing. I seem to have forgotten the technique of making oneself invisible.
Oh, you're kidding. It's easy. Look, all you have to do is this. Raise your antennas, like this.
Of course. Am I invisible?
Brace yourself. No. Now, why don't you put those things back in your sockets? Looks like two pieces of soggy spaghetti. Look, why don't we just try something simple? You could levitate the book out. You do remember how to do that, don't you? Yeah. Here, watch it, will you? All right, you've got the speed. Now let's see you exercise a little control. Uncle Martin, can't you find a better place to read than in Brennan's garage?
It'll just take a second. Tim, I know this is written in Martian, but I seem to have forgotten how to read Martian.
Oh, that's just great. Now, what else can you forget?
Nothing, but I just remembered something I wish I could forget. I'm afraid I left the anti-gravitator on in my spaceship. In exactly 3 minutes, it will build up enough thermal energy to lift the ship and all its contents straight up into the air.
Well, that's all we need. An unidentified flying object messing up the air on all the Air Force radar screens.
I shudder to think what would happen if they shoot it down and find my diary. Unfortunately, I wrote that in English, with my name and address in it.
Well, let's not give up. We've still got a few minutes. Come on, concentrate. Now, where did you hide the things?
It's no use. Now I can't even remember packing them, or what I packed them in.
Well, we might as well go home and worry in comfort. It's getting sort of damp in here.
Water. H2O, that's it.
Huh? Are you sure you're not cracking up? What's what?
The missing ingredient in Mother's formula.
Well, it can't be. You said it was something rare that your mother bought in some chemist shop.
Tim, water is rare on Mars. People have been known to pay 1,000 umlauts for half a Gilco, which, as you know, is hardly enough to fill an eyedropper. Tim, you'll never believe where my spaceship is. Right here in Detective Brennan's garage.
Oh, now come on. Why would you hide it here of all places?
Remember Edgar Allan Poe's purloined letter?
Well, vaguely. Mr. Poe said that if you don't want somebody to find something, you just hide it under his nose.
Exactly. But as it wasn't practical to hide a spaceship under Brennan's nose, I decided to use his garage instead.
Oh. Huh. Well, if it's here, I don't see it.
Well, now that I know what I'm looking for, I do.
Oh? Oh, the box. The box? Are you sure? I mean, how could you get that spaceship into that box?
Very simple. I dismantled it into geometric segments, each of which fits into the other like a Chinese puzzle.
Yeah, well, quickly, you better hurry up and deactivate this thing before it takes off for Compostela.
Makes too much noise opening it. Come on, let's get it out to the car. We can work on it on the way home.
I still can't see how that book could disappear.
Well, Laurel, hey, books don't fly out of windows. You probably misplaced it somewhere while I was chasing that blasted tide.
I'll just slip in.
Well, all right. Wouldn't you know it, I'll have to stop for gas.
Oh, that's too bad. We're late for our reservation now. Oh, say, why don't we use my car? It's right outside.
Well, if you're sure you wouldn't mind.
Oh, no.
I'll just back it into the garage.
Oh, Lord, you've got to stop him from coming in here.
Don't worry, I will.
I thought your mother's home remedy cured your sneezaphobia.
Relax, Tim. I must have caught a slight cold in Brennan's damp garage last night.
You sure?
Of course, it's just a simple Martian cold. Now go ahead, go ahead. Never mind worrying about the cold. Go ahead, move.
Well, where'd all this food come from?
It's a perfectly natural phenomenon that accompanies a Martian cold.
It is?
An advanced Martian medical technique based upon one of your primitive earthly axioms. Starve a fever and feed a cold. Well, have a bite?
Thank you.
Brennan.